So this is the Galaxy S21 and it is $200 cheaper than last year, which makes it an even more compelling option. And considering that it is almost 6 months old right now, and also the fact that I've made another video where you can get it for even more cheaper, which will be linked up over here, makes the question that, so does it hold up? Well, let's start off with the build quality. When at a glance it looks like metal and glass, it's actually metal and plastic. And when I say plastic, people already get their thoughts towards the universally scuffed up Note 20, wherein in reality, plastic is just a cheap and dirty word to actually use, and you won't actually feel the difference because it's also like in a matte material. And compared to last year's fingerprint magnet mess, this year's plastic does a really better job of rejecting fingerprints and tends to keep the phone more cleaner looking. And also the fact that not a lot of people actually care if their phone is actually made of plastic, because you can't really say the difference. Both actually have a matte frosted finish. Speaking of looking good, these accent rails, at least on like the purple models, actually look really good and also acts as an embracement towards the camera bump instead of actually being like rejecting it. And speaking of the cameras, they aren't like actually the best that Samsung offers, but they are one of the good things taken from the Note 20. And I can say the camera is a B+, considering that it has a 12 megapixel wide angle, a 12 megapixel ultra wide with a 120 degrees wide angle field of view, and also a 64 megapixel telephoto, which has 3x optical zoom, as well as a 30x digital zoom. So yeah, as you can see the camera samples, it's fine, it's usable. Not a lot of people are actually going to be caring about it, and if they really care about camera, people often tend to go towards the ultra model, which has 2 telephoto lens as well as a bigger camera sensor on the main one at least. And of course the front camera isn't that big, considering that Samsung hasn't innovated much on the front camera for like at least the past 2 generations. It's the same 10 megapixel camera on both the S21 and the S21 Plus, while the S21 Ultra has a 40 megapixel front camera, but nonetheless, it's still fine. So when you talk of the front camera, you obviously have to cover the screen because Samsung makes one of the crispiest and sharpest screens on the market. So this is a 6.2 inch AMOLED, not Quad HD Plus, but it's just Full HD Plus, which means it's 1080p from the 1440p that we had last year. But if you notice something, last year's panels only could use 120 Hz in 1080p, even though it was a 1440p screen. And also the fact that people really can't notice much of a difference from a 1440p screen to a 1080p screen. So it's worth the cuts, but nonetheless, the same fundamentals are still there, which means Gorilla Glass Victus, and also the fact that you have a larger ultrasonic fingerprint scanner and you have 120 Hz still there. So I'd say it's worth the cuts, considering that it's actually trying to cut the price as well. So now that we've actually covered the screen, the cameras, and all of that, let's cover the battery. So the battery is 4000 mAh, which again is not the longest thing that Samsung can offer, but again, it will actually be just enough for a lot of people, or even like you can actually kill it by bedtime by using it in 120 Hz mode and playing games and all of that. So I'd say the battery is very average, and I'd say some of the sacrifices are worth made, but some of them are like the battery haven't been actually like sacrificed at all, or even for the thing, it hasn't been upgraded. It's the same 4000 mAh battery. And it also has like the same Samsung key features that always come with it, like for example IP68 water resistance, as well as like wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, and also the fact that you get 2-3 years of software updates and 2 years of additional security updates. So there's all the usual of that. So what are the caveats? So the caveats are that the selfie camera is meh. You don't have a charger included, which is still a bummer because Samsung is like the biggest hypocrite around in the industry, even though like it makes a lot of fun with Apple. So there's no charger included, and also the fact that it's not that ambitious for this price. Like for example, take a lot of other phones right now. For example, the OnePlus 9. The OnePlus 9 actually is a better step in cameras, but it lacks a telephoto lens. So the S21 has that. And take the ROG Phone 5. It has like more specs and it can push out more juice, mostly because like it has a better cooling system and it's like tuned to the max. But again, like it doesn't have the best cameras and it doesn't have like the overall experience. And people buy Samsung phones not for the specs or the cameras or anything. They buy it for the best balance. They need balance. Some people don't really like rely on both performance or cameras. They need balanced stuff from both sides.
Perfectly balanced, this whole thing should be.
And that's why this phone is more of like how to balance both along with the price as well. So this year it's actually $799, which is $200 lesser than $999. And you know, like a lot of people make these kind of like cheaper excuses for OnePlus now. And now that OnePlus is actually like more expensive, I can actually say that this is actually like the best balance in the mid-range game, mostly because of the fact that Samsung has actually like reduced their prices and made this phone as balanced as possible from every angle, with making the sacrifices where it is actually needed. So thank you guys for watching this video. This video was not a review at all because I have never used this phone properly in my life. And thanks to a friend for actually lending it to me, for actually making this review possible. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, this is yours truly, Shreyas.